Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm reacting to Karma Yoga, The Path of Action, Part 1, Swami Sarvapriyananda. So this was a request. To do a request. If you have a request, please leave it in the comments below. Please leave the title, the name of the YouTube channel, and the length of it so that I can search for it. If you put the link, it might get put for held for review, and I don't really look in that area, and I may never see it. If I don't reply to your comment after about a week, post it again. I get a lot of comments, and sometimes I don't have time to check all the comments all the time. So let's go ahead and get started, because this is a long one. Might be a two-parter.
Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness unto light, lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. So the subject of the 4 yogas, it covers the entire range of spiritual life. One way of understanding the 4 yogas is this. See, the answer to spiritual life, the question of spiritual life, depends on how one conceives of the problem. Karma yoga, the way of work or service. Bhakti yoga, the way of love, devotion. Raja yoga, the way of meditation. And Jnana yoga, the way of knowledge. What is the problem and what is the solution? All of these are about spiritual life. In themselves, they are paradigms of spiritual life. In Karma Yoga, it is understood as the problem is selfishness and the solution is unselfishness. It is selfishness that ties us to this little body and mind, this little personality. So all the efforts that I do in life, all the work that I do, all my thoughts, everything through the days and months and years of my life is directed at making this happy. Why? Why this? Why particularly this? Because I am this. I am this. We never question it. It goes without question that I am this thing. I'm reminded of a couple of very interesting incidents. Today, I received an email from a doctor in Edinburgh. He says, all my life, I've never been particularly interested in spirituality or religion. Oncologist. Yet recently, just a few days ago, some time ago, what he did was, he says, we're examining, I was looking at x-rays of the body, and then I thought, I can identify every bit of this body. Looking inside the body also, every bit of it. I know, I've studied it, I can identify it, I can actually see pictures taken by x-rays. And yet, where in all of this is I? It might seem like a simple question, yet it struck him with a full force for the first time. In all of this, where is I, the one who is thinking now? The one who...
Yeah, I will say that's definitely whenever I first started this journey, it's like I never thought of I. I've always thought that of course it's me, this body, and maybe more specifically the brain. But I get the point of this I being Turiya, especially if you really just blank out your mind. And I can see how it seems like, I guess we're tapping into it in a sense. Because everyone, if you concentrate, well, I don't know, concentrate? If you concentrate or not concentrate, I'm not exactly sure the methods yet, but you can get to this point of absolute no thoughts, and it's just blank. I've hit that one time, I think for sure, I'm not sure. It was reacting to a video. For some odd reason, I had literally, like, I maybe experienced it. I don't know for sure. And it's just blankness, darkness, nothing. It's like a void. And I do believe everyone can experience that. Now, whether that's all linked together, like Brahman or Turiya or Atman, I don't know. That I cannot say for sure. I can say for sure. I can say with pretty good confidence that I think everyone can experience that if they can just silence their minds, just silence their mind, and in a sense remove themselves from the body. Because I didn't. That like it's like a tenth of a second or something like that, and I could not sense my body. It was just again void, blackness, nothing. I can believe that most people can experience that. I just don't know for sure if that we're all linked in that way. However, the definition of Brahman has changed as I watch this, and Swami here has defined Brahman or God as all objects, not limited by objects, all time, not limited by time, and all space, not limited by space. That is not a God-like being. It's a definition of something, a definition of, well, three things basically, because he defined it with three different things. That's just to say the infinite, basically. And if I were to say we are part of the infinite, yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, we are part of this material realm, and we're all part of it collectively. We're limited by what we are. But to say Brahman is the infinite, I can agree. I can agree with that, and we are a part of Brahman as well. I can agree with that. I can agree with that.
Who is enjoying suffering? The one who I call myself. Where am I in all of this? Each is a piece of this body. So that was his insight. Recently, I was on a flight from Nova Scotia to Toronto. And in the seat next to me, there was a young mother with a little daughter, baby daughter, Victoria. She was 17 months old. And the mother was pointing out different things. We was continuously talking to the child and pointing out different things and naming it for the baby. One thing I understood is that babies understand language much before they can speak. I think this is like common knowledge for any mother or father, but I never thought of that.
Another thing I think about too is like, whenever, when you pointed that out, whenever I think about how babies learn language, it makes me wonder, how do we just start, like, at what point, where's that transition where, when you see a child, they can't speak, but all of a sudden they can speak, and they can communicate with the mothers. Where is that point at? Like, when is it when they don't know how to say anything? They'll say that they don't know what this is. They don't even know how to say pen. They don't know, I don't know anything about it. Then all of a sudden at one point, it's like, oh yeah, this is a pen. Where's that transition phase? Honestly, I've been curious about that for a long time. I'm like, what he's saying is like, where is that? Well, he's saying that they learn when they're young, but it's just fascinating. At what point does that click over to where they don't know, to where they know, and maybe where they can speak it, so they can, whenever the baby or the child wants to go pee or poo, they say whatever. Like, I guess maybe you have to be a parent, then you can know. Maybe if you pay attention to that, you can know exactly where that transition happens. But it's just mind-boggling to me. Like, I don't know when I was able to talk, or even whenever I see some of my cousins and friends and whenever they're growing up. It's interesting. I've never looked that up. I've never ran into that video, so it's just very fascinating. At what point does a child that's able to speak and be able to speak coherently, be able to ask, like, I'm hungry, or I want food, or I want water, or something to drink, or I want to go to sleep, or I want to go out and have fun? Where's that point at? Was there ever a point where they're like, blah blah, or whatever, and you're like, what do you mean blah blah? You're like, blah blah, I want blah blah, and you're like, what's blah blah? And they go, oh, and he goes, oh, that's apple, maybe then, and then somehow they associate that apple or that object, the blah blah, as apple.
They understand language. They understand what you are saying very clearly. Just that they are babbling at that time. They can't actually talk. They can't pronounce clearly. So whatever the mother said, she understood, the baby Victoria. And she was, I think, fascinated by this color or something. So whatever her mother showed, she would turn around with big eyes and show me also. Like, so look, there's a cloud in the window. Look, there's a plane. And she had a little soft toy. Look, that's Mr. Bear. Oh, that's relevant to bears. Mr. Bear. And she would show, Victoria would show, with a big smile. And then the mother showed a picture of the baby, her own picture, the baby's picture on her mobile phone. Who's this? And the Victoria turned to me with big eyes and proud look and I. Now what struck me later, not at that time, later it struck me.
Sorry to keep pausing it, but that's another interesting thing. I watched some videos where how, I guess, at what point can we say an animal is intelligent? The defining factor, at least from the videos I've seen, is if they can self-identify? If they can recognize themselves in a mirror. That's when they become like self-aware, I think. I think self-awareness. And that's very fascinating because there are animals out there. There's a mirror in front of them. There's YouTube videos. Again, I watch random stuff on there, and where they're attacking the mirror. Even if they go behind it and they come to the front, they still don't recognize that that's them. There are some that do. I think it's like apes and elephants, I believe, that do. But it's just an interesting. And I've also seen studies where, like, at what point do babies can recognize that it's themselves in the mirror? Again, interesting stuff. Just random stuff that I find interesting. And he's talking about this.
It's a very Vedantic insight. What is the insight? When she is saying plane, that's a plane. Cloud, she's showing me, that is a cloud. Mr. Bear, this is Mr. Bear. But when she's shown the picture of baby Victoria, and she says this, she is not saying, this is baby Victoria. Like Mr. Bear, this is cloud, plane. She's saying, I am this. 17 months old. I am this. Do you see the distinction? Automatically, all the other things are this. You should also say that picture is this. No, I. Automatically we identify with the body. And yet, as the doctor saw, where in this body am I? Which one is me? Outside, which one is me? Inside, with all the X-ray pictures, which one is me? So, we take this body and mind to be ourselves without question, and Vedanta, of course, says this is wrong, and this is the root of samsara. And then we try our best throughout a lifetime to please this body.
Sorry, I just thought about this. I said it in other videos before, but I may be able to clear this up a little bit about my position of duality and who we are, where we are in the body. So I'm wondering if there's a piece of the brain that if you remove it, that your body will no longer function. But in terms of capable of doing something, your body can react to things. So for example, even if you remove that section of your brain, your body will sit there, it will live, it will continue to pump your heart. If you do something like that, if you do something like that, it'll be able to react, or maybe move the arm or something, because certain parts of your body is not exactly attached to you or I. There are some parts of your body that is attached to certain sections of your brain. Like I think your right hemisphere controls the left, and the left hemisphere controls the right part of your body. So you are capable of, I'm sure, again, I don't know for sure, I don't know for an absolute, without a doubt, but I'm sure that your body's capable of living on, even if you remove that section of the brain of who you are. It's just that there would be like an empty shell. That's all it is. I have a feeling, I don't know if scientists have discovered this yet, I have not researched it, and I've not randomly found it on YouTube, but I'm sure they'll get to that point where they'll find it. The only problem is that since that is kind of an illegal, it's not very looked good upon, because no one's going to volunteer to have them consciously say, hey, I'll go there and, you know, take out the part of their brain, let's see what happens. You know, no one wants that to happen to them. But of course, they're gonna have to wait until people have passed and they donate their body to, you know, science or whatever. And then, even then, because the body's not functioning anymore, the person is not there, it's very hard for them to say, oh, this is where you're at, because when we remove it, you're not saying anything anymore. It's like, well, you're dead already, you can't say anything. So I think the reason why we haven't found that part of the body is because we cannot do it on a live human being. and since the mind is very complicated, we can't just remove it. It's like, okay, we found it, put it back, and sew everything back together. No, it doesn't work that way. I think once you damage the brain, it's practically permanently damaged. So that's the reason why I think we haven't discovered, in terms of science, we haven't discovered where we're at in the brain, because we cannot do it while the person's alive. And even if we can, even if someone volunteers it, there's no way to put them, the eye, back into them, because once we remove it, our surgical, medical, scientific knowledge is limited, and we cannot piece that back into the brain and then function again. Once the brain has been damaged, as far as I can tell, it's permanently damaged. There's no repairing it unless your body can heal it.
Give it the food it wants, give it the music it wants, give it the things it wants to see, and all of the pleasing the senses. And then whatever is related to the body. My house, my property, my father, mother, my husband, wife, child, grandchild, my. My means, which my? This body. This is called selfishness. Sri Ramakrishna put it this way. He had an inimitable way of playing with words. He said, my nephew, my niece, this is called Maya. All are my Gopala, my baby Krishna is everybody, my Krishna is appearing in all these forms. He says, this is called Daya. He's playing on the words Maya and Daya. Worldliness and spirituality. Look, the same people. This is mine and that's not mine. My nephew and my niece, my son, my daughter, and not mine. And just the opposite. All are my beloved Lord. So this movement from selfishness to unselfishness. Selfishness is the problem which traps us in samsara and unhappiness, and unselfishness is the solution. This is the karma yoga paradigm. Bhakti yoga paradigm is our desire, all our attraction flows outward. This is nice. This is beautiful. I must have this. I must enjoy this. I must see that. The desire for sense objects is the problem. And the solution is to take all that desire and focus it on God. The desire is the same. I want. But the object has changed now. First is I want the world. Now it becomes I want, same I want, but God. I want God. The world, giving up, changing the focus to God. That is the Bhakti Yoga paradigm. The problem is all our passions, desires flow to the world and then turn that river around and focus it towards God. Same desire, focus towards God, bhakti. That is the solution. That's the Bhakti Yoga paradigm. The Raja Yoga meditation paradigm is all my thoughts are scattered and about the world, and because my thoughts are scattered, the spiritual truth is not revealed to me. The problem is, the Raja Yogi says, problem is not God, whether you want God or not, whether you're selfish or unselfish. The problem really is our minds are unsteady. They keep flickering.
Also, I was gonna make a comment as Bhakti Yoga, I believe. That's one of the videos requested too. But I figured I'll wait until then, but maybe I'll say it here. So the pattern turned from I want the world to I want God. If we say that everything is Brahman, everything is God, therefore wanting the world is wanting God. But there may be a twist there, and he has obviously this is karma yoga. So I don't know if it's going to go and explain that here, and hopefully it'll be in Bhakti Yoga. But say wanting the world and wanting God, it's the same thing if you believe in non-duality and that Brahman is God. Again, that's the reason why I'm so confused about Brahman. We say it's a God, and I think of the Western version of God. Now, if he says God or Brahman as the way he defined it in the video, defining God as in all existence, I'm sorry, all space, all objects, all time, not limited by any of them, then it's not in the sense of a Western God, but more along the lines of a qualification for something, that if it exists, if it's an object, if it happened in time, if it's in space, and if it's an object, it is Brahman. Therefore, everything is Brahman, which I can agree with. But Brahman not being like a god, like a Western god, like Zeus or something, whatever. Zeus, Ra, whatever. But whenever we keep saying this word God, it's just it keeps confusing me, because that's a very strong influence in my mind of what God is in terms of Western religion. So kind of like Spirit. I can't remember his name. I've seen him a few times, but I call him the crazy guy because I thought he was crazy at first. But yeah, whenever it said Spirit and he was talking to the Western dude, I'm terrible with names. But yeah, he kept saying, why do you say rock has spirit? Because again, in spirit in Western language, spirit's a very strong word, and I understand people explain that that's probably the best definition, best word in English to explain what I guess Atman is. Is it Atman or Brahman? Of what he was trying to explain, basically. There is no direct translation, and the closest translation is spirit.
They are scattered. If we would focus the mind, if we would only focus the mind, then the truth would be revealed to us. So from scattered mind to focused mind, from mind scattered in the world to mind gathered and focused on God, Atman, whatever you call it, from unmeditative mind to meditative mind. That is the problem, and from there to the solution. That's the Raja Yoga paradigm. The Jnana Yoga, the way of knowledge, they say the paradigm is, the problem is ignorance. We do not know what we are, who we are, right now, right here. And this is called ignorance, and the solution to ignorance is knowledge. So from ignorance to knowledge, the Jnana Yoga paradigm. From scattered mind to concentrated meditative mind. First was Jnana Yoga paradigm, second one is Raja Yoga paradigm. From mind, desires pouring out into the world, to desires all concentrated on God. Bhakti Yoga paradigm. From selfishness, scattered in 100 selfish pursuits for this one body and mind, all the activities are now channelized unselfishly. That is the Karma Yoga paradigm. Of course, I am giving you a general case, very oversimplified version. We will go slowly into the depth of it. So right now the discussion is on Karma Yoga. This session and the next one. Now, Karma Yoga has something unique. First of all the yogas, this is the only one which is not private. Yeah. Your meditation, your devotion, all your philosophy, it's yours. Really doesn't have too much to do with me. I may get the fruits of it when you're fairly well along the path, but otherwise, not much to do with me. But Karma Yoga is engaged with the world, with the public. So your Karma Yoga is that spiritual path which is directly in contact with the world. Another fact is, in today's world, work is very important. All of us. Whether you are in an ashram or in a family or in a workplace, you are active. You are doing things. You're coming in contact with people. We're coming in contact with problems. Now this takes so much time and energy that if we cannot spiritualize our work life, then spirituality is a losing proposition. It will always lose. If we clearly make a distinction, my secular life and my spiritual life, then out of 365 days, how many days retreat, Star Lake retreat? 3 days. 362 days? What about the other 362 days? Not spiritual. 24 hours in a day, how many hours are spiritual? Maybe at the most half an hour. Busy days, then 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And the rest, good deal of it is spent in sleep, and the rest is spent in
Work.
like Manhattan, the city that never sleeps. I saw a poster, Manhattan, the city that never sleeps but always dreams.
Everyone's sleep deprived.
So, yeah, that's a good one. We're saying it's a good one. I'm sure somebody in Wall Street must have come, or some Madison Avenue, somebody must have come up with it. Yeah. So, spirituality will always lose if you do not spiritualize your whole life. Our energy, time, concerns are mostly with the world, mostly with work. Only a little is left over for spirituality. One Swami told me, if you cannot spiritualize your work, then you're a vagabond. As a monk, when I first came to the ashram, what are you doing? Other people out there in the world, they are earning money, they are doing, they are working, they are raising families. What are you doing? See, you're working in a school or a hospital and all. If that's not spiritual, if that's not connected to your goal of God realization, then why are you doing it? Others are doing it. The doctor is doing it because he earns money. The teacher is doing it because he earns money. He takes care of his family. Why are you doing it unless you can spiritualize it? So work has to be spiritualized. Otherwise, this distinction between secular and spiritual, karma yoga erases that. It makes everything spiritual. It makes everything spiritual. So we're going to talk about karma yoga. There's a lot to learn, and I'm going to, they call it an info dump. So I'm going to tell you a lot of things. Remember, if you have any short specific questions, I can answer right away. Otherwise, we'll keep it till the end of the class. I'm primarily going to be using Swami Bhajananandaji's book. He wrote a little monograph about it. A very spiritual, saintly, very illumined, very intellectual monk of our order. So his work is based mostly on Swami Vivekananda's Karma Yoga. I think we have copies of it here. Yes. So that's the standard work to go to. Swami Vivekananda, it was his favorite yoga, you might say. He gave great emphasis on Karma Yoga. Great emphasis on Karma Yoga. So we'll see more and more why. So first, so I'm going to give you several points, one after another, today and tomorrow in the morning. There's a lot to understand here, a lot to clarify. Because Karma Yoga, we don't think much about it, but yet it's so important for us. Especially in Manhattan, in the United States, in America in the 21st century, in advanced countries of the world. I was in Boston day before yesterday, and this Uber driver, he said he's from Liberia. And I said, do you ever go to your country? He said, every year. And he was very funny, nice young man. He said, I go there to relax. I work here. Here you can't work, you know. Here you can't relax, you know, man, you can't relax here. Yeah. And then he says, you go to Liberia, man, you just let it go for some time. Why all this? So when you are working so much, and you cannot not work. If you try to do that by force, you will end up feeling guilty. You will end up feeling uneasy in this economy, in this society. So how do you spiritualize work? So karma.
I agree with them. I mean, a lot of this yoga. Well, I mean, I can't say for sure because again, I don't exactly know, but there's definitely some Eastern philosophies that are desperately needed in the Western world for sure. I mean, and one comment put it perfectly was the fact that if you want to learn about how the outside world works, look at Westerners. If you want to learn the inside, how the inside of you work, look at Easterners, or Eastern philosophy, look at Western I don't want to say democracy or just Western. It's not a philosophy either. Actually, it might be a philosophy. It is. It can be a philosophy, a way to make money. That's a philosophy, I suppose. So, if you want to learn how the outside world works, the comment said, look at Western philosophy. If you want to look how the inners of you work, look at Eastern philosophy. And I completely agree. There is a severe lack of inner philosophy in Western society, because Western society is so focused on external philosophy, and you get trash people sometimes, and not everyone, of course. It's a small population of quite bad people are selfish and uncaring, and again, selfish explains it all. They only care about themselves and no one else, and they can say screw everyone else, and they will literally screw everyone else in pursuit for their own happiness. Again, external philosophy from the Western world, and again, not all Westerners are like that, but it's very true what he said. That comment, I actually really like that comment, and it's quite true.
So let's get into it. I've got actually some notes and stuff. That's why I wanted this. Karma translates into work, but here's the thing. Not all work. The moment we say work, there are different meanings of that word. So, for example, physics, motion is related to work. All motion, there's so much motion going on in nature. The sun and the moon and even the river and the wind. Motion is going on. Is that work? No. Machines are doing some. In fact, there are formulas we learned in physics classes as kids. Calculate work done in energy units and all. Is that karma? No. Karma is that which is done by a living being, in a living body. So karma is, the word karma as it occurs in karma yoga relates to one. Work done by a living being in a living body, sentient being, that work.
Key word there, sentient. Big word I was about to ask. So sentient being. So what's the classification of a sentient being? And I think what I said earlier, didn't realize I was going to come back to this. Is it the fact that when an animal can recognize itself, it's self-aware? I don't know if it's self-awareness, but maybe it is. I don't know. I can't remember. It's a video I watched a long time ago. It's just fascinating that most animals, when you look at themselves in the reflection, they can't recognize that that is themselves. Even babies can't do that when they're so young. It gets to, I forget what age when babies can start recognizing themselves. But that might be the key word there. So a sentient being. And at what point is that? Do animals, in terms of, again, I don't know if this is the same karma or not, but again, from listening to some of the other videos, I don't know if I'm getting mixed up or not, but karma is basically how you reincarnate in the next body, whether you ascend or descend from where you're at. If you've been bad, or there's that. I think that might be Buddha, though. That might be a Buddhist belief. I'm not sure. Or it's when you later on down your life or your next life, how people are going to treat you, how life is going to treat you. Basically, if you have bad karma, you're going to have a terrible time. You must have been bad in your past life.
Second, it's consciously done work. There must be a sense of agency, a sense of a feeling of I am doing it. So my tummy is now busy digesting the food we just ate. Is that karma being done? No. So I am doing it consciously. Agentship must be involved there.
Okay. So I guess even if an animal is able to recognize itself, does an animal ever think that I want to, I need to? Does the animal ever ask or make the statement I? Actually, there was an ape that's able to communicate with sign language. Huh. It was a lady, I believe, adopted an ape. I can't remember why. I don't know whether it's an experiment or whether the ape was abandoned or whether the ape was the parents died or the troop died. So she took it in and taught it sign language. I do believe she did. So she's able to communicate with the ape. Huh. But I don't know if all apes can necessarily do it though. Huh.
Third, there must be results for which we are working towards. So there is bhoktritva. Bhoktritva means the enjoying. Literally, karma is kartritva, agentship, and bhoktritva means it is translated as enjoyership, but it's not actually enjoyer. It can also be suffering. Mostly, it is suffering. So the work that we do, the results that come from that work, we enjoy and suffer that. So that also is a part of what we mean by karma here. A machine does a lot of work, but it's neither enjoying nor suffering. Neither enjoying nor suffering. Even a computer which does intelligent work. Deep Blue beats a chess grandmaster. And the chess grandmaster who played hard to win and loses is feeling disappointed, depressed, and humiliated. But Deep Blue does not feel triumphant and joyful. No. So is it beyond triumph and joy, beyond depression? Is it a perfect karma yogi? No. The term karma does not apply to what Deep Blue is doing, but it applies to what the grandmaster is doing.
That's an interesting question. What happens when, I guess, AI becomes an actual thing where it is capable of thinking on its own? Will it have, would it be considered, that sentient being? It's really, there's a Star Trek episode I sent to a friend because it talked about what is it considered to be alive or a sentient being. And whenever robots come to existence, are they going to also get karma? I wonder if anyone's asked them that. I don't know when this was done, so I don't know if this is a time when they start thinking about AI and stuff.
So there has to be agentship. In Sanskrit kartritva, there has to be enjoyership, sufferership. I don't know, I'm coining new words. Enjoying and suffering, bhoktritva. Then there must be
sentient, and then the two that he said, sentient being, conscious decision, and whether the decision can be enjoyed or suffer from it. That's the three things that he gave.
What is called the cosmic result. That by doing this karma, I get some result. See, number 4, you write down moral obligation. Karma has a moral dimension. Good, bad, righteous, unrighteous. These things become involved. So, for example, a baby might consciously do something, but what the baby is doing is not good or bad. When baby is very young. Animals do many things, but you don't call the cops the animal which creates a nuisance. Nor do you give although they give medals to dogs nowadays for bravery in war and all of that. But generally, good and bad, a moral obligation, a sense of that there is a moral dimension in karma, which need not be there in all kinds of activities or work. So, moral dimension is 2 parts: morality, good, bad, and freedom of choice. If we think a little bit, we will realize quickly that without freedom of choice, without free choice, you cannot have good and bad. You cannot praise a person for action, good action done consciously, or you cannot blame a person for evil done consciously unless that thing was done freely. If the person is forced to do something bad, you cannot really blame that person.
Very interesting topic. I was talking to a friend about this one. Some time ago, I was watching whether we have free will or not. Some people believe that we're deterministic, as in we, in a sense, have no choice. And what they explain makes sense. I believe we're a little bit of both. We have free will and we have deterministic nature. I don't know if you guys wanted me to explain that, but I'll do it in brief. Because of what you've done in the past, and your experience in the past will ultimately, this is the deterministic point. So whatever you've done in the past, whatever you experience in the past will determine what you do in the future. So for example, if you ate ice cream, you ate chocolate ice cream and you like it, and you ate vanilla ice cream and you don't like it, and when you come down the road you see, oh, chocolate covered truffles, and you see vanilla covered truffles, you're like, oh, I like chocolate. So in a sense, you think you had a free will choice there to whether chocolate or not, but because you like chocolate, you basically from then on you generally pick chocolate over something else. And if you decide not to go with chocolate, but you went with the vanilla because of what you've done in the past, where you're just like, in the past maybe you said that you wanted to try out something different, you end up choosing the vanilla over the chocolate. So it makes sense to a degree of what they're saying, how we're deterministic. But at the same time, I do believe we have free will, and there are some things that are deterministic for us. Basically, what we've done in the past will basically have a great influence on what we choose in the future. So, for example, like the chocolate thing, like, if overwhelmingly the only thing you like is chocolate, and if a choice was presented to you, chocolate or vanilla, there is no choice there. You're gonna pick chocolate, basically. In a sense, you're determined to pick chocolate whether you have free will or not, because of the past that you've had of choosing chocolate.
And that person unknowingly does something great, you cannot really praise that person. So moral dimension is there. And moral dimension means, one is that there must be good and bad involved in that, and second is there must be freedom of choice. Karma, another idea. And the last one is...
Sorry, one more thing. And generally speaking, well, not generally speaking, but there are some, I guess what you call ambiguity in morality, because there are some things that may seem good but are actually bad. For example, you have to have a choice. So, okay, if someone was coming to kill you, but you killed them instead, well, you had a free choice in, say, killing them. You had no choice. You couldn't run. You could get yourself killed. I wonder if he's going to add preservation to that. If basically you caught yourself in a corner, you had no choice but to kill him, because he would not stop until he killed you. But you had a choice to not defend yourself or defend yourself, in a sense. That may be a bit extreme, but, killing other people is bad. But I can't blame someone for self-defense, even though, murder is murder, or killing is killing, whether it be murder or self-defense.
What is called cosmic result, karma phala. This is usually the way karma is understood in Sanskrit and in Indian languages. You say, when my karma is bad, what do you mean my karma is bad? We understand that the results of our past karma are what we are experiencing now. The law of karma states, good, good, bad, bad. Swami Vivekananda's poem, Song of Sannyasin. Good, good, bad, bad, and none escape the law. None escape the rule? The law. But whosoever wears a form wears the chain too. So good karma leads to good results. Good results means pleasant things tend to happen to you. Bad karma, remember, in the sense of consciously done immoral action. Bad karma leads to unpleasant things happening to us. So good, good, bad, bad, and none escape the law. Whosoever wears a form, a body, wears the chain too. What is the chain? Okay. The chain is this fifth aspect of karma I'm talking about, the cosmic result. We have existed in past lives, we have done many things, and the results are upon us now. So that is called our past karma. We are what we are now because of many lives. So babies, they are not new creatures. If you look into the eyes of a baby, you see an ancient creature staring out at you. So we come with a lot of baggage. Let me write it down quickly. Yes. Yes.
My understanding is that good doesn't necessarily mean that you will get good results in life, but in your own mind or in...
Correct. Keep that in mind, because we will take it up later.
I couldn't hear what she said, but it made me think of another thing, because it goes back to what I'm saying about self-defense, a little bit about self-defense as well, about good, good, bad, bad. Because a lot of extremist people tend to believe what they're doing is good. They absolutely believe what they're doing is good, even though they're doing bad. So is that good or bad? And again, what determines good and bad if it is based on opinion, our opinion? To him, what he's doing is good. To the people that believe in the same thing he does, is doing good. To everyone else, it's bad. So, where is this rule or judgment of what is good and what is bad?
That's there. What are the results of karma? That's a point I'm going to come to just a little later. But right now, I'm just clarifying the word karma. So we see 5 points. Living being, not a machine.
So not AI then.
This distinguishes the word karma we use in Karma Yoga from the word work in science and all. Many other things you can use.
So I wonder what he will say to AI now, especially if we can program happiness. So for example, like I guess whenever the battery's low, we can say, hey, that's hungry. That means you need to go feed. You need to go plug yourself so you can recharge. And we can program happiness to that.
Then agency, kartritva. Then suffering, enjoying. I'm using the Sanskrit word, bhoktritva. Bhoktritva. It means enjoying and suffering. Then there is moral dimension, which includes choice. Oh, this is very, very good idea, placing the microphone here. I could spend the whole day here. Moral dimension. I was just reminded the famous French philosopher Michel Foucault. He talked about the Greek idea of pareisia. Pareisia means truth-telling. The ancient Greeks had a very interesting idea. Pareisia means truth-telling. What is truth-telling? So Foucault explains that the sun rises in the east. So this is a fact. I've told the fact. Is it truth-telling? He says, no, this is not the idea of truth-telling. When I tell a truth which is harmful to my perceived interests, my own selfish worldly interests, it's true, but if I tell it, I might be exposed to harm. Then I've told the truth. Sri Ramakrishna says something similar. He says, if a man can confess to his faults simply, openly, then one must understand there is some spiritual substance in the man. In Bengali he said, যে লোক নিজের দোষ পটপট করে বলে দিতে পারে বুঝতে হবে তার মধ্যে কিছু আছে. So moral dimension is there, and including choice. And this other one, the real thing which most people understand by karma, a result which will come to us in life. Cosmic result. This is what most people mean in India when they talk about karma. In Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism. By the way, this karma, this idea of karma, good, good, bad, bad, consciously done good leads to good results in this life or the next. Consciously done evil leads to bad results in this life or the next. This is something accepted by all the Indian religions. Hinduism, all varieties of Hindus who do not agree on almost anything else. I often introduce Hinduism in schools in America. When they're asked about Hinduism, I say that any question that you may ask about Hinduism, the answer is usually yes and no. Believe in God? Yes and no. There are philosophies. God is male? Yes and no. The song which Patrick sang at the beginning, Shakoli Tomari Ichha, all is thy will, is sung to God as the mother, divine mother. God has form. Yes and no. But there is something that all Hindus, if they call themselves Hindus, believe in. That is karma. and associated with that multiple lives, existences, before this birth, after this. And all Buddhists who do not believe in an eternal soul, who do not believe in God, but they believe in karma. Buddhists believe in karma. They believe in many lives. Jains. So all Indian philosophies believe in this cosmic result. Why do I say belief? Notice one thing. All these are not really controversial. If you think about it, they are all, we know this. But this one it's a matter of belief, faith. There is a component of faith here, because there are people who will say, no, I don't know. How do I know that I had past lives? How will I know? Maybe not. So anyway, this whole thing was a clarification of the term karma. Let's going ahead now. So what is karma yoga? Now we come to karma yoga. Dharma, religion, has two broad aspects in Hinduism, in Vedanta. Pravritti and Nivritti. Swami Vivekananda said there's no good English translation for them, but the nearest he can say is Pravritti means circling outwards, going out, flowing into the world. And Nivritti means circling inwards, turning inwards. Basically, what I sometimes call religion and spirituality, or the higher religion and the lower religion. So pravritti means engaging with the world, going out into the world, but doing it ethically. And that's religion. Mass religion is like that, basically. And nivritti is turning inwards, seeking the transcendental, not interested in worldly pursuits anymore. So that is the higher spirituality. One would be, I want pleasure, and I want success, and I want to be rich. But how can religion help me here? Belief in God, belief in karma, being ethical and moral. This is the sustainable way to live in this world. This is a good way to live in this world, moral and ethical way. You cannot have a society without this. You cannot have an organization without this. You cannot have a family without this. So that is called pravritti. And most religion, churches, temples, mosques, they're all basically teaching this. Ethical life, good life. Then there is a secret, esoteric, inner dimension, the core of spirituality. That there is something beyond this world, even a moral life, even a good life. Beyond this also there is something higher to be achieved. Call it nirvana, moksha, God realization. All mystics, saints, sages, bodhisattvas, avatars, that was the core teaching. Every scripture of the world, the core teaching is this. In every religion. The core, the essential teaching is there is something beyond even the moral life, even the ethical life. Ethical life and moral life is preparation for this higher spirituality. So pravritti and nivritti. Shankaracharya in his introduction to the Bhagavad Gita, he starts the introduction by saying this. Dvivido hi vedokta dharmaha. Pravritti lakshana, nivritti lakshanascha. The Vedic religion is twofold. First sentence. Vedic religion is twofold. One is the path of pravritti, one is the path of nivritti. Path of nivritti. Now, why am I saying this? The work that is done in the path of pravritti is karma. It's not karma yoga. Karma yoga entirely belongs to the path of nivritti. Karma yoga is a yoga. The purpose is God realization, moksha, nirvana, freedom, enlightenment. The karma, that is the work that is done in the path of pravritti, is moral action, ethical action. Yes, the goal is still your eyes are on the bottom line of the company. But what is taught in B school, business school? Not how to attain enlightenment. But business ethics. Business ethics teaches you how to do business, attain your goals, but ethically, without cheating people, without destroying the economy, destroying the company. When the economy collapsed the last time, and it won't be the last time, when the economy collapsed the last time, there was an article as usual in Time magazine. and say that actually we all know what happened. At the core of it is not a systemic failure. Every time that happens, they try to fix it with changing the laws and all of that. And the guys who break the laws are smarter. They'll find another way of breaking the law. They say it's greed. And the form of that greed, they said in Wall Street, there's a saying, YBG, IBG. YBG, IBG means, you will be gone, I will be gone. Let's do this. Let's make our millions. Company will collapse. Wall Street will collapse. Then the American economy will collapse. Along with that, the rest of the world economy will collapse. Fine. But we'll be retiring with millions of dollars.
What's the use of those millions of dollars if they're useless because of the collapse of the dollar? So yeah, I mean, if you make the economy collapse, then then your dollar is going to be worthless. Inflation is going to be a problem. But then they're going to be smart enough to probably transfer their money, or not transfer their money, but what do you say? Convert their money to other currencies or other stronger currencies. But if the world economy collapsed, then they just screwed themselves over too. But the poor suffers the most.
This is adharmic karma. This is also pravritti, but it's done unreligiously, immorally. How can you live a good life morally? That is pravritti. That is karma, dharmika karma. But it is called sakama karma, karma done with desire. How to do it morally? Religion teaches you that. Every religion teaches you that. But the nivritti marga, the higher religion, spirituality, what is the role of karma there? There karma becomes karma yoga. Okay. So this distinction. Then another distinction, one just basic errors. This is more common in India. All people who do a lot of work are not karma yogis. They may do a lot of karma, but they're not necessarily karma yogis. Why? In India, I don't know if it's still there, but you'd see advertisement, obituary. One great businessman has died. Seth so-and-so, XYZ. He has passed away. Bahut bade karma yogi the. He was a great karma yogi. He established a multi-million-dollar business. Now, that's said as a praise of that person, but that's a misnomer. He was a great worker, no doubt. I'm sure he was a great entrepreneur. I'm sure he was a workaholic. I'm sure he earned millions of dollars, or crores of rupees. But that's not karma yoga. So that's one error. Second error is everybody can be karma yogi. No. Karma yoga also requires preparation. It's a spiritual practice like everything else. You only have to look at the life of Mahatma Gandhi. In this country, Martin Luther King, or in India, Vinoba Bhave, and many others. An ascetic lifestyle with moral and ethical training, a high spiritual goal in life, with engagement with the world. So it's not easy to become a karma yogi. Meditation is difficult, and I fall asleep when I meditate. I'd rather be a karma yogi. Not easy. Bhakti yoga is difficult. I really don't have any faith in God. I'd rather do karma yoga. Not easy. Jnana yoga is difficult. It's what they're talking about in jnana, it's not very clear. Karma yoga is easy. No. All right.
Okay, I'll have to pause it there because it's running pretty long. Interesting. So, what if, I guess that businessman, I mean, he started an empire, but I guess it's just the sheer fact that maybe I wonder if he considers he donates to charities and organizations, would that, I guess there's more than just, I guess, in a sense, doing good in the world. There's a little bit more to it. And he gave examples. Martin Luther King, Mahatma Gandhi, and one other. I'm sorry, I'm terrible. I recognize those two names because they're quite known in the West. And the Indian person, I can't remember the name. But I have a feeling, I guess it's more of the action and going into the front lines, as they say. Basically, even though you're rich, you go down to the people and you encourage them, you inspire them to do good and to push for change, to do peaceful rallies, peaceful protests. It's more than just money and donating. But I don't know if he would consider them necessarily full karma yogas or yogis. But anyway, that's the first part of Karma Yoga, the Path of Action, Part 1, Swami Sarvapriyananda. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.